Hey, fourth graders, Miss Thomas again. This video is about a case study in water use and in the Colorado River. Um, so how do people depend on the Colorado River and share its water? That's one of the key questions of this chapter. Many rivers flow through the United States, but few of them are as important as the Colorado River. The people who live in the West and in the Southwest depend on the Colorado River for many things. The river provides drinking water for more than 36 million people. It supplies water for more than 3 million acres of farmland, and dams on the river help produce much of the electricity used in the Southwest. The Colorado River begins high in the Rocky Mountains. The beginning of a river is called its source. The Colorado wanders south and west through some of the driest parts of the country. Then it crosses into Mexico, where it ends in the Gulf of California. The river's total journey is 1,450 miles long. Many smaller rivers flow into the Colorado. Rivers that join other larger rivers are called tributaries. Tributaries. Each tributary adds water and soil called silt to the Colorado. This silt gives parts of the river a reddish brown color. The history of the Colorado River Basin shapes how people use and share this river. Current challenges will affect its future. How can we use this resource wisely? How can we use this resource wisely? So today, millions of people live in the Colorado River Basin. A river basin is the area around a river and its tributaries. In the past, the Colorado River Basin was mostly an empty desert. Two of the American Indian groups that once made their homes in this dry region were the Anasazis and the Hohokams. The Anasazis lived in the Four Corners area. This is where the states of Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, and Colorado meet today. The Hohokams lived in central Arizona. The Anasazis and the Hohokams were farmers. They raised corn, beans, and squash in desert fields. Not enough rain fell to water their crops, so they built canals to carry water from rivers to their fields. Some Hohokam canals were so well built that they are still used today. Around 1350, the year 1350, the Anasazis left their villages. Around the same time, the Hohokams also left. The name Hohokam means those who have vanished. Why did these people leave their homelands? No one is sure, but the most likely answer is drought. A drought is a time when little or no rain falls. When no rain came and the rivers ran dry, the Anasazis and the Hohokams probably had two choices. They could leave and live, or stay and most likely die. They chose to leave their villages to live in other parts of the Southwest. Explorers arrive. Spanish explorers were the first Europeans to visit the Southwest. In 1540, a Spanish soldier named Francisco Vasquez de Coronado led an army north from Mexico. Coronado hoped to find cities made of gold. Instead, he found American Indian villages built from mud and stone. In their search for gold, some of Coronado's men came upon the Grand Canyon. From high up on the canyon rim, the river at the bottom looked like a trickling creek. The men didn't bother to give it a name. Spanish settlers eventually followed Coronado into the Southwest and lived off the land by farming and ranching. These settlers eventually named the muddy river flowing through the Grand Canyon. They called it the Colorado, which means reddish color in Spanish. In 1869, an explorer named John Wesley Powell, and a crew of 9 men navigated down the Colorado in small boats. These men were the first Americans to see the Grand Canyon from the bottom. The trip took 3 months. In 1871, Powell made a second trip down the Colorado. He wrote a report on the Colorado River Basin. He said that the region was too dry for much settlement. He believed that there wasn't enough water to support a large number of people. A wave of settlement. Powell's warning did not stop settlers from coming to the Colorado River Basin. Some of them were farmers, like the Anasazis and Hohokams. They found that they could grow crops in the desert. They just had to bring a lot of water to their fields. To do this, farmers used irrigation. Irrigation is a way to bring water to a dry area. Some irrigation systems use canals, pipes, and ditches to carry water from one place to another. This is how farmers irrigated the Colorado River Basin. So once again, irrigation is a way to bring water to dry land, using water from another location. Other settlers became cattle and sheep ranchers. Sheep and cattle could live off plants that grew wild in the Southwest, but ranchers had to find drinking water for their animals. Some ranchers also needed water to raise crops of hay for their animals. As the number of settlers grew, towns appeared in the basin. A few, such as Las Vegas, Nevada, and Phoenix, Arizona, grew into cities. People living in these towns and cities needed water for drinking, washing, and watering their gardens. All of these people looked to the Colorado and its tributaries for their water needs. Once again, tributaries is all the streams and other small rivers that go into a larger river. Sharing the water, the Colorado River Compact. At first, the Colorado River had enough water for everyone. Water was divided up following the rule of first in time, first in right. This meant that people who settled first were first in line to draw water from the river. Those who came last were last in line. This way of dividing water created a problem because those settlers first in line lived mostly in California. This meant that California had the right to use almost all of the river's water, and this didn't seem fair to other states in the river basin. In 1922, the 7 states in the river basin reached an agreement known as the Colorado River Compact. So once again, a compact is an agreement. The compact divided the basin into 2 parts. The upper basin includes Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, and New Mexico. The lower basin includes Nevada, California, and Arizona. The compact gave each part of the basin an equal amount of water from the Colorado River. The Colorado River Compact said nothing about Mexico. Mexico's water users worried there would be no water left by the time the river crossed the border. So the United States signed a separate agreement with Mexico. In it, the United States promised to leave some water in the Colorado River for Mexico. Taming the river with dams. The Colorado River Compact gave each state the right to a portion of the river's flow. But turning that right into a constant water supply was not easy. In wet years, the river flooded its banks. In dry years, the river barely flowed. The only way a state could get and keep its share of river water was to trap and store it by building dams. As water backs up behind a dam, it forms a reservoir. A reservoir is a place where water is stored for people's use. Reservoir. Since the 1930s, the states have built more than 80 dams on the Colorado River and its tributaries. These dams have tamed the river. In wet years, they prevent flooding by not letting too much water flow down the river at one time. In dry years, the reservoirs provide water to farms and cities. Most dams generate electricity. Water rushing through openings in the dam causes huge machines to spin. These machines are called turbines. The spinning turbines create electricity. This electricity is sold to help pay for the dams. Managing the water. You've read how the Colorado River has been dammed to provide water and electricity for the 7 compact states. I'm just going to read that again. You've read how the Colorado River has been dammed to provide water and electricity for the 7 compact states. But how does the water actually get to each home, business, or farm that needs it? Water has to be collected from the river, treated, stored, and then distributed. A municipal water system does all these things for you and others who use water. A municipality is an agency or business organized by a state or city to perform a service. The service may be waste removal, fire protection, water and electricity delivery, and others. A water municipality delivers the water from the Colorado River to the people of the state. Municipalities cover a defined area, often a town, city, or even larger district. You may call your municipality the water company. A water company is responsible for many things. It stores and delivers the water through a system of reservoirs, pipes, pumps, or canals. And it must maintain these systems. The water company treats the water and keeps the water clean. For these services, the water company charges users a fee and sometimes taxes. Water companies also educate users on how to save water. By managing the water, a water municipality does its best to make sure that everyone gets the water they need now and in the future. And once again, a municipality is an elected agency or business that performs a service for the state or city. The number of water users grows and grows. The dams help people share water from the river, but year after year, more and more people moved to the Colorado River Basin. These people built new houses and businesses. Still, the Colorado River provided water and electricity for everyone. Who are these water users? The largest group is made up of farmers and ranchers. A farmer uses 3 gallons of water to grow 1 tomato. A rancher uses more than 600 gallons of water to raise the beef for 1 hamburger. Families are major water users too. People need water to drink, shower, flush toilets, and wash clothes. Did you know that 1 load of laundry can use 30 to 40 gallons of water? Businesses are major water users as well. A clothing company needs about 1,800 gallons of water to make 1 pair of jeans from cotton. Miners are also major water users. Gold, iron, copper, coal, and uranium are found in the Colorado River Basin. Miners use large amounts of water to wash these valuable ores from the soil. So far, the Colorado River has met the needs of these water users, but as more people move into the basin, there may not be enough water for everyone. Wildlife water users. People are not the only water users in the Colorado River Basin. Mammals, birds, fish, and other animals need the river too. The taming of the river has hurt wildlife by destroying habitats. A habitat is the place where a type of animal typically lives in nature. The natural habitat of fish, for example, is water. So once again, habitat is the place where a type of animal typically lives in nature. So as you know, dams built on the Colorado have turned parts of the river into reservoirs. Otters and other animals once lived along these parts of the river. Now their habitats have changed. Dams have also changed the water in the river. Before the dams were built, the river water was muddy and warm much of the year. The river's water level was at its high point in spring. Today, the water released from a dam is clear and cold. The water level is highest in summer. That is when farmers in cities need water and electricity the most. These changes have hurt fish and other wildlife. Today, some dam operators try to help wildlife by releasing more water in spring, but this change means less water for people during the summer months. Is there enough water for everyone? The Colorado River Compact was based on the belief that about 17 million acre-feet of water flow down the river each year. An acre-foot is the amount of water it would take to cover an acre of land with 1 foot of water. An acre is about the size of a football field without the end zones. Once again, so an acre is about the size of a football field without the end zones. And so you can imagine a football field flooded with 1 foot of water, and that is an acre foot. It's a lot of water. After the United States signed an agreement with Mexico, this is how all the water was divided. Upper basin states 7.5 million acre feet. Lower basin states, 7.5 million acre feet. Mexico, 1.5 million acre feet. Total, 16.5 million acre feet. If the same amount of water flowed every year, this plan would work. But the river does not always carry this much water. In wet years, the flow may rise to more than 20 million acre feet. In dry years, it often falls below 10 million acre feet. And there are more dry years than wet years in the Colorado River Basin. An acre foot of water is about 326,000 gallons. This may sound like a lot, but it's not. A family of 4 uses 1 acre foot of water each year. A farmer uses 3 acre feet to water just 1 acre of land each year. As more people settle in the Colorado River Basin, there may not be enough water for everyone. Meeting future water needs, farming. In the future, water users in the Colorado River Basin will face shortages. There are only 2 ways to solve this problem. One is to increase the supply of water. In the past, this was done by building dams. But most of the best places for dams have already been used. In addition, dams can hurt the natural environment. The other solution is to use less water. This is called conservation. Conservation is the careful use of a resource. It sounds easy, but it isn't. Using less water takes planning. It also takes new ways of thinking and new inventions. So once again, conservation is the careful use of a resource, conservation. Conservation efforts are already being made. Farmers are changing the way they irrigate their fields. Sprinkler and ditch irrigation systems lose much water to evaporation. If farmers can reduce evaporation, they can use less water. So farmers apply mulch or a cover to the soil and use drip systems. Irrigating at night can also help reduce evaporation. Farmers are also changing when crops are grown and for how long. Some fields lie fallow or unused for a season. Cover crops like soybeans or turnips are planted after the main harvest. Cover crops are seeded in the remains or stems of harvested wheat or other crops. The soil is not tilled. This helps the soil hold water better and adds nutrients to the soil. Conservation efforts like these help farmers use less water. Meeting future water needs, cities. Turning off the water while you brush your teeth, taking shorter showers, only running a fully loaded dishwasher. What do these habits have in common? They are ways that you can help conserve water. Water conservation is important in homes as well as on farms. Tips like these are being followed in cities and towns of the river basin. Conservation efforts are going beyond personal habits. For example, all new homes in the river basin are built with low-flow toilets. These toilets use less than 2 gallons with each flush. Older toilets use up to 7 gallons per flush. Conservation is happening outdoors. City gardeners are planting native plants to decorate their cities and reduce erosion. These plants usually don't need to be watered. Native plants are adapted to an area's climate. If you do need to water the garden, rain barrels are a way to reduce water use from a faucet. Rain barrels attached to homes or businesses capture runoff of water from roofs. This water can be used later to water gardens. Many cities are recycling the water that goes down the drain every day. This water is called wastewater. Cities collect and treat wastewater so that it can be safely used again. Treated wastewater often irrigates plants in parks and grass at golf courses. Communities in the Southwest and all across the country are finding new ways to save water. You can help too. Report leaky faucets at school and broken sprinklers around your community. Every little action helps. Rethinking the way you use water will help conserve it to make sure water is there when you need it. If John Wesley Powell could see the Colorado River today, he would be amazed. The river he explored ran free from the Rocky Mountains to the Gulf of California. Today, giant dams slow the river's rush to the sea. Those dams have changed the Colorado River in ways that Powell could never have imagined. When Powell explored the river, few people lived on the land around it. Now, more than 25 million people rely on the Colorado River basin. Powell would be surprised to see so many people. He would also be surprised to find farms and cities blooming in the desert. If Powell were here today, he might issue a new report on the Colorado River basin. Water is precious, he might tell us. It is more precious than gold. So use the river's gift of water wisely and conserve it.